Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Liza and I know this is kind of unusual video for me. Different setting, different style, and that's going to be a new style for some of the videos on my channel because I want to introduce more of those loungy style videos where it's just me talking to you, sharing my experience, knowledge, where we discuss different life related topics about finding our paths, about finding the life, what we are doing in life, and some struggles we're going through. So welcome, and I want to open this type of videos with the first, I kind of decided to call it this video, Who is Liza Spirit? Who am I? And talk more about my background, who I am, and what age did I start learning numerology? What age did I start being very spiritual and focusing on it? What I went through in my life, what all of those factors which led me to where I am right now. And I'm gonna start with that I was born and raised in a small city in Russia. And when I was 17, I moved to Canada. So I've been living in Canada since then. I got my degree, I got my education here in Canada, and I stayed here and got my jobs, and I will get back to it. But that's what I wanted to say. And when I was at the age of 11, 12, I went for a summer vacation to Turkey with my grandma. And at that time, on our way back, I got very sick. And I got tonsillitis and I didn't feel well. It was horrible. I still remember this experience, which was not the best at all. And when I got back home, I started treating all of this. I went to different doctors, so I started getting better. But 2 weeks later, I had a pain in my hip, in my right hip. And I clearly remember the date, and I will explain you why, because everything changed on that day. It was August 27th, 2008. Why I remember it? Because at that day, at nighttime, I didn't feel well. Sometimes when you're a kid, your joints are growing and you're trying to speed up with all these processes of growing. And I always had some problems with my joints. I would just take, a cream, apply it, and I'll feel better. But at that night, it didn't feel better. And I tried, and I went to my mom at the middle of the night. I told her, it's not getting better. I tried everything. If nothing is working, and she gave me some painkillers, and I could fall asleep. But I woke up because we had an earthquake, which was 7.0. And it was a big earthquake, and I woke up because I could feel everything shaking. Some of the statues, small little ones, some of my drawings started falling down. Everything started breaking, and my dad ran into my room and started telling me okay, quickly wake up, we gotta go, dress up and let's go. It was about 9 or 10 a.m. And a couple of minutes later, he came to me, and I was still sitting on my bed, and he was like, what the heck is going on? Why are you sitting? I was like, I cannot move my leg. I have so much pain and I cannot do anything. So I quickly still dressed up, and when I was going down the stairs, I struggled walking down the stairs. I could not. I had so much pain in my hip, in my right hip. And of course, it took some time for me to rest during the day. Also, this was all shocking, the earthquakes. We quickly went outside of the city to the countryside just to feel safe. But the next day, we started going to the different hospitals, to doctors. And what I was found out, actually, my tonsillitis, all this inflammation, it went to my leg. And I started having the inflammation in my right hip. And that's how I got diagnosed with arthritis at the age of 12, if my calculations are correct. 11. At the age of 11, I got diagnosed with arthritis. And I spent at the hospital several weeks, and I was laying in my bed. I could not wake up, I could not walk. So 2 weeks without any movements, nothing at all, having 4 antibiotics per day, lots of injections. My health was messed up, and I was only 11. And what happened is, after this treatment, one of my legs became longer than another one, so my whole body was like this. I struggled walking, and I had to learn how to walk again. And I missed lots of school also, because it was right at the beginning of the school term. It was at end of August, beginning of September. I missed lots of classes, and it was a disaster. And at that time, my mom's best friend, she started learning what we called like immunology, which was very popular and booming back then. And the whole idea was about seeing the past life, seeing the psychosomatics related problems, what's happening, studying your aura, studying different chakras. And me and my friend, my best friend, her daughter, we were the same age. She told us like, okay, I'm gonna teach you how to do this, and we're gonna go and practice. We were actually neighbors, and she was like, we need to find the reason why I had this problem. So we started understanding why this happened to me, like psychosomatic reasons, past life reasons, doing different regressions as well. So she taught us, and she taught me everything about it. She taught me everything about our aura, so I could actually close my eyes and see the aura of other people. I could feel it. So all my senses were very high. I could feel other people, and chakras, all the spiritual practices, everything about our body. I started learning it when I was 11 and 12 after this happened to me. So that was the first time when I got introduced to it. And of course, later on in life, when I was a teenager, I again had some problems with my arthritis. Now everything is amazing, everything is good. That's good. It's not bothering me anymore, but just still need to be careful with all of those things. And that's when things changed a lot. And that's when everything started. That's when my spiritual journey started. Then when I was a teenager, my grandpa, he was crazy about traveling. He loved traveling to different places, and he brought me my first tarot deck when I was 15. For some reason, the tarot deck was in German and in French, in these two languages. I couldn't speak either, and I couldn't understand anything. He just gave me the deck without explanation, without saying anything to me. So I tried to do something with it. I just didn't understand what I'm supposed to do, how to do those readings. And he gifted me, it was actually like very basic tarot deck, which is hard to understand because there are only images, like small signs. Like if it's 4 pentacles, there are literally 4 pentacles. So you couldn't build even any associations, try to guess, get the feeling, because there was no feeling about it. That's why it didn't make any sense to me, and that's why I didn't even try. So, and then, of course, I moved to Canada. And moving to Canada, I moved by myself. Like I didn't move here with my family. There was nobody helping me with that. And of course, moving to another country, getting an understanding of the education system here, it was hard. The education system is completely different. I didn't understand what do they want from me, how I'm supposed to study. That's why my first semester at university, it was a disaster. And then things started getting better. I started studying my major. I graduated majoring in getting the Bachelor of Arts, majoring in communications. I didn't really enjoy studying communications. That's why I did double minors at my studies. I did one minor in print and digital publishing, and then also in my last 2 years at university, I also did educational psychology because I found that was very interesting and fascinating for me, and I loved psychology and I loved education. So that was kind of a perfect combo for me as well to study. That's why I got this degree and minor in it as well. And while I was studying, of course, first couple of years, there were a lot of lessons to go through, lots of ups and downs, but I didn't really focus on myself, like it's personal growth and like spiritual growth and development. I had to figure out how to live with it as a country. I had to figure out how to build friends, how to deal with the payments, how to deal with finding the apartment, paying my bills, setting up, like there were a lot of responsibilities, lots of things I had to do to deal with. So that's why I stopped practicing anything. I stopped working with people. I stopped healing people, because when I was a teenager, I was actively doing that. I could feel people, and I would work with people. I would work on psychosomatic a lot, of psychosomatic medicine a lot, helping others finding the cause, like, holistic approach towards medicine, why it's happening, why they're having certain health related problems. And I didn't do it for a couple years until probably 2018. In 2018, when I started slowly getting back on track. And that's when I started learning about meditations more in depth. I signed up for some different online courses just to learn more about it, just to get myself into this space, into this field. And then I started taking more spiritual courses. That's when I found my spiritual teacher, and I officially became a student of my teacher. And I have a teacher who is guiding me and helping me in my journey. And of course, the life hasn't been easy for many of us for the past 3 years with the pandemic, with lots of life changes. And I'm not an exclusion of this as well. Life kind of pushed me to lots of transformations, lots of different events in life. And I went into the limbo of being down in 2019, before pandemic hit. So in 2018, 2019, I also started learning about myself, because I was very mentally depressed, anxious. The only thing I did, I was burnout. The only thing I did, first thing I did in the morning when I would wake up, I would cry right away, not brushing my teeth, not eating, not going to the bus, nothing. I would move from my bed to the sofa and cry about life, and just sometimes for no reason, just to cry that I felt miserable, that I felt not good about my life and whatever is happening, that I'm not realizing my potential, that I'm lost. And that was a time when I started having problems within my family. My parents started having some problems in their relationships. They started talking about divorce, and I started thinking, that's it, I don't have a family. There's no such thing as family to me in life anymore. So I was feeling very, very down. And that's when I started working with a therapist. After 2 weeks, probably being in this state, I pushed myself. I asked for help, because for 2 weeks I was declining any help. I was just crying. I don't know how my partner went through all of this, but because it was very bad. And I was glad that I had some people supporting me, but at that time it didn't matter. I didn't feel any of this. I was just in my own state of feeling depressed and anxious about life, and that everything is bad. I'm so down. I'm lost. I don't know what I'm doing, and why am I even in Canada? And I cannot give up, because I came and my parents paid for the education, and I have to go through some stuff, and I have to learn lots of different things, and I have to go work. I had a part-time job as well at that time. So it was messy. And I started taking the therapy sessions with psychologists, and I started getting better. I started learning more about myself, gaining more confidence, because I lacked the confidence. I saw that I'm miserable. I'm no one in this life. I haven't achieved anything, and that was my approach towards whatever was happening to me. And I worked with a psychologist for almost a year, 2019 till end of 2020. Or even I would say mid 2020. And 2020, it was actually a great thing that I had a psychologist at that time, because without it, the events which started happening in 2020, I would be just not able to stand any of them and deal with them if I didn't have this strong foundation. Because I started getting to the spiritual field also end of 2019, when I started taking more courses, understanding life and everything like this. And 2020, beginning of the year, that's when the pandemic hit. And in March 2020, that was when my first close cousin passed away, who was the same age as I am. And it happened here in Vancouver. And I was the only one here. And I didn't have any family, and the borders got closed. because it was exactly on the same day when everything got closed for the pandemic. And I had to deal being in my early 20s, I had to deal with everything by myself. And I had no idea how it works. I didn't know even how it works in my own country when you have to organize the funerals and organize all of those things. And I had to go through it by myself. That's, of course, I had to take a lot of responsibilities. That's the time when I probably was so serious about life and in general what's happening in my life. And I had to even grow up more. I feel like I've always been very mature since my early ages, because when I got sick at the age of 11, that's when I felt like I had a feeling like I lost my childhood. That's it, because when I was in a hospital by myself, the parents were not allowed. So that was a time when I got feeling inside of me when I got separated with my parents. And of course I needed them, but it was just not allowed because it was kids hospital. And I had a feeling that, okay, from now on, from that age, I was so serious about everything in life. I became so mature about whatever is happening, the things I do, responsibilities, actions. And at that year, we got my sister. We have 11 years difference with my sister. So my parents and everyone was also busy with my sister. So I was like, okay, I gotta go and take care of myself by myself. So that's why I was still kind of grown up. Even moving to another country by myself, it's already a huge step, and I already felt all the responsibilities for everything. I never partied like crazy. I was so focused on studies, on my self-realization and fulfillment. I'm not a huge fan of all of this. I like socializing, but I'm not a huge fan of drinking and going out. For example, right now I don't drink alcohol for almost 3 years. I just don't like it. That's not that's not my thing. I just kind of made it out. We can talk about it later if you're interested why I made this decision later on in my videos. But it's been almost 3 years. It's going to be 3 years in fall since I don't drink any alcohol. Even I had lots of events, weddings, parties, birthday parties, all of those celebrations, but no. Just staying consistent, always up. Well, going back to the story, it's just this situation with my cousin. It's kind of changed me a lot. And I had to, I feel change, the way I looked at my life, everything got changed. Because when you lose somebody that early and without specific reasons, you just start thinking and you start re-looking at your whole life. Whatever you do in life, you don't want to waste your life anymore. You start thinking about every minute, every second, and you want to get the most out of all of those things. So, and of course 2020 was a roller coaster. Again, something would be going up. That's when I graduated in 2020, not having a graduation. Also, of course, I was very upset about it after 5 years of studies, but that's okay. And of course, again, because of the pandemic, our family also lost some people, some relatives, and 2020 was ups and downs, but I was still within my spiritual work. That's when I started learning numerology. That's when I was I had a session with a teacher, the matrix of destiny, matrix of resources, which I'm explaining and telling you, the tarot as well. And I had a private session. First, my mom went through it and she shared her experience, and I was like, I want to do it too. I'm very into it. I did the astrology sessions before, but I was it was okay. I didn't really was crazy about it. But when I had this session, numerology session with my teacher, today, everyone, I live in a very quiet neighborhood. And today is a special day when there are lots of ambulance, something is happening. Let's give it a moment to pass by. Okay, So in 2020, I started learning. So I had this session with a person and I was like, I love it. That was amazing. I like how the matrix of destiny worked, how accurate everything was. And I asked this lady, like, can you be my teacher? And she looked at the matrix of destiny. She looked at it and she was like, let's combine our charts. Let's see like what kind of resources and energies you can give me, what I can learn from you, and what you can get out of me. And so she combined and she was like, okay, that's working out. And she agreed to teach me everything and share all her knowledge with me about numerology, about matrix of destiny. And so that's when I started learning more about it. And that's when I started actually learning the whole system, how it works, understanding all of it. And so since 2020, I started deeply working and understanding this subject. That's when I started working with the matrix of destiny. So it's been 3 years since I've been doing that. And after I completed my matrix of destiny, matrix of resources, and you know, matrix of destiny is based on 22 major arcanas from tarot. And so I was like, I already know 22 major arcanas. Why not to go and get into the tarot as well? And I messaged my mom. And I reminded her about the deck, which my grandpa gifted to me. Remember when I was 15? And even we moved from one city to another city, and I lived in a new place in my new house before moving to Canada only for 2 days. I could remember where this deck was. And I told my mom, like, okay, this deck is there. Can you send it to me? Can you just send it via mail to me? And so she sent me a parcel with this deck. And this deck came to me and I started working with this deck. And even my teacher told me, like, yeah, that's not an easy deck, but it again shows that because when the deck is given to you, it picks you, it selects you, and if it's given to you, you gotta work on it. Like if somebody gifted to you a tarot deck, it's just a sign for you, okay, you need to go and do it. So if you go and buy it by yourself, that's a different thing. Like, you know, the same with the crystals. So for crystals, or different stones, it's better when other people gift it to you. It's a different energy. And the same with the tarot deck. So if somebody gifted you, like as a present, a tarot deck, sorry, you have to go and do it. If you've been postponing it, you need to go and study how to do tarot and how to do the readings. So, and I started learning using this deck. I started learning tarot, and of course, for tarot, there's 78 cards. So it's a lot of information. It's a lot of things you need to memorize and to go through. So tarot it took me some more time than numerology to understand and to learn all of this. But I started working with clients in 2020. Doing all the numerology readings, doing the matrix of destiny readings, matrix of resources. Of course, my approaches has changed. The way I give and share the information changed. I used to record only voice messages or text messages. Now I do them via Zoom only and for a couple hours only because I need to make sure I give everything in depth. And that's what makes, I would say, numerology sessions with me special. Because I have so much expertise, so much knowledge, because I also in 2022 in September, I went to study how to become a spiritual mentor. I'm wrapping up the program right now and I'm working as a mentor at university, starting from mid-July, teaching the courses and helping and guiding other people as well. And started that I want to guide and help other people. So I learned a lot. I learned about the family constellations, how to build all of the family trees, understanding again all of the systematic approaches and changes, talking about the holistic medicine. I learned whole holistic medicine things, lots about nonviolent communication, lots of things about like emotional maturity. So there were a lot of things which were covered. And when I learned about the holistic medicine, I decided that I love this subject and I want to learn more. And this year, also in spring, I went to get a certification in energy medicine. So that's why I decided to go deeper into the subject. And that's why I feel like during my numerology session, it's not about just me kind of literally explaining you the meaning of the numbers. It's me finding and explaining the numbers for you and speaking the same language as you are in terms of what you need, trying to find solutions to the problem, so I just can feel and understand it better, because I just have a way more background and knowledge in different fields as well, related to spirituality, spiritual growth, and personal development. And in that gap between now and when I graduated and learned numerology, also when I finished my degree, I went to studying a diploma in interior design. Completely different. That was always my dream. I wanted to draw. I have a degree, a musical degree. I graduated from musical school playing saxophone, and when I was learning and when I was in musical school, I was attending the drawing school at the same time, but at certain age and certain time I had to pick, because classes started overlapping and I had to pick, like, am I going and continuing musical school or drawing school? So I finished musical school, but I always was more fond of drawing, so, and design in general, so that's why I went to get a diploma in interior design. In 2021, I got a diploma in interior design, and while I was getting it, I was still working within my major. I was working in a marketing field for 5 years. For almost 5 years, I worked as a marketing manager, advertising, setting up the campaigns, branding, personal branding, doing all of this, content creation. That was my job. And at some point I just realized I'm good at it. I'm good at marketing. I'm good at managing all the different campaigns and all the different things, but it's not something that I want to do and not something that I truly love. That's why I went into design, and I worked as a designer, as a decorator, event decorator, and styling, and doing all the flooring and all the plants and architecture wise for some time, for a little bit less than a year. I learned a lot of things, and I was working several jobs at the same time. Like, I was working 2 full-time jobs in marketing, and I was doing the part-time design. So I was always working and hustling and trying different things at the same time. And what else did I do? I taught English as a second language at school here in Vancouver. In my last year of university, I started actually working at school because I got my minor and degree in educational psychology, and I went to work with kids. I went to work with kids with learning disabilities and for whom English was not first language, so English is a second language. So I worked at school, I worked with kids, I worked with people, and I had my own language school for a couple years. And I had my students and people working at school teaching different languages, not only English but also German, French, Japanese, Chinese, and all of those things. And I just decided in 2021 that I don't want to do it anymore. And then decided for a change. As you could see, my whole life, I'm kind of not afraid for changes. And if I feel like it's not working, like let's say it was a marketing, I didn't give up marketing completely. I was working in a marketing because that was the main source of income always, but I would still do the design on the side part-time and seeing and feeling, okay, how is it working out for me, or it's not working out for me. And then I also had my socials. I had my YouTube channel on the side. I was doing the consultation, numerology consistently within having lots of full-time jobs, dealing with a part-time job. I was still doing the numerology. I was still recording different videos and tarot forecasts and trying to do my YouTube, trying to do my socials, like Instagram especially. I was having my blog. I was doing it very actively back then. Right now it's a little bit more steady because I just don't have a lot of time being a full-time influencer anymore. I have a lot of other things to do. And after design and after marketing, I started working, and I got a job at Lululemon. If some of you know, it's a big Canadian athletic company, and it was kind of my dream place. In terms of the company, mindfulness, wellness, the whole idea, it was of course a huge opportunity for me. And I started working at Lululemon as a project coordinator, and I lost my job. And and I lost Lululemon job because of my immigration documents. So after even some time living in Canada, my immigration documents got rejected and I was not allowed to work anymore. So I had to stop working. The same day I had to stop working. And I was, of course, very pissed and upset. And it lasted for a couple of days, but then I got back on track. I feel like through all the struggles I went in my life, at this point, I always say there is nothing in life that you cannot deal with. I have this approach that whatever is given to me, I can go through everything. And even sometimes if it doesn't feel that way, I say like, if God or universe or whatever you believe in, if they gave it to you, they believe in you and they believe in your soul, in your spirit, that you're capable of going through it. And it helped me a lot. Like this mindset, that's what is pushing me every day, even if I go through the hard times. And that was a hard time because at that moment, I couldn't work anymore. Meaning that I cannot go and earn money. I cannot get any income. I cannot do anything. And so that's when I started focusing more of my personal projects and thinking and analyzing what I can do, like analyzing my whole life. I tried working as a marketing manager, as an English teacher at school, and I had my own school, as event decorator, as a designer, as a project coordinator. Okay, what do I want? I've tried so many things, but I never had the time to wrap it all up and make certain conclusions and choices and think, okay, how do I feel about it? Like, what am I doing in my life? What's next? And I treated that time, and of course that was longer than I expected, right? But it was just time for me to think, to reflect, and make lots of conclusions and do more YouTube videos and be heavy on posting the content and giving to other people. Just helping others, assisting them, sharing the knowledge, do something, build a base and build a foundation. And once the problem is solved, everything is ready and everything is ready to go. So that's a kind of a short, not short, but in general, try to summarize my whole life when I started focusing on spiritual growth and spiritual development. Right now, I do help people a lot on their mentoring people in their journeys, finding the life path, what they're supposed to do. I feel like with my extensive experiences in finding myself and finding what I love doing, what I like doing, moving to different country, being as immigrant, not being able to see my family. I haven't seen my family for 4 years. And of course, that's kind of the problem which you have, and you have to make some sacrifices when you're immigrant. I saw my mom and sister last year. They came and visited me, but I haven't seen my dad, for example, my grandparents for a long time, and my grandpa passed away last year. And it was also the grandpa who gifted me the tarot deck, who always was, we kind of had a very strong connection. And of course, that was also, again, the point of changing everything. And I regretted so many things that I didn't do with my grandpa, because we were planning the trip to India, but I was postponing it. I had studies. And then I was telling him, okay, once I graduate, we go. And once I graduate, the pandemic hit and we couldn't go. And then the pandemic started easing up. And that's when he passed away. And I had so many regrets that I didn't go to this trip, because he was planning it. He had the whole attorney and everything for 4 years, for sure. It's just I was postponing it. And then it also kind of showed me I don't want to have any more regrets when it comes to family and spending time with loved ones, and which I still have about my dad, because I haven't seen my dad in 4 years, but I cannot do anything. It all comes again to immigration questions and being able to leave the country. It's just right now you have to go through some stages in your life, and again, everything makes us stronger. Different experiences in life, they only make us stronger. And in general, the family situations also for the past year, my parents getting divorced like completely. And like me trying to navigate all of this, and also my grandpa and my dad. By the end of last year, sorry, he got diagnosed with oncology. Of everything is good. He got a surgery and just recovering now. But again, like you would probably imagine, like me not seeing my dad for 3 years, like at that time, and knowing that and getting this conclusion from the doctors, of course, that was kind of painful for me, and lots of fears that something could potentially happen. And again, I would have a lot of regrets about in life. So that's kind of things I had to go through in life in the past several years. But it's just like I keep moving. I keep doing the same, staying always positive, staying always optimistic, and again, just being grateful for all experiences. I know sometimes it's hard, like in hard moments, it's hard to be and stay grateful, but even I can be very upset, I still stay very grateful for all the experiences. I wouldn't change anything. Maybe the thing I still regret is about my grandpa. I feel like that's probably thing would I still say I want to change it and spend more time together and learn more from him, because he had a lot of knowledge. He traveled the whole world, different cultures, different countries, and there was a lot I could learn from him. And I wish I kind of got his knowledge and opportunities more. But we gotta be grateful for all other moments we had together, for everything that is given to us in our life, and staying grateful and do the gratitude practices. I've been doing gratitude practices for over 2 years now, almost 2.5 years, non-stop. Every day I go to bed, I have even already my plan of my gratitude for life, to the God, and to my family, to my parents for giving me life, for people, for different situations that happen. Even if they're not the best ones, I still stay grateful for everything, and that's what helps me a lot. And I feel like that was it probably for today. Let me know what you think about this type of content, and I hope you learned something new about me, because I wanted to share it, because I wanted you to know who is this person behind the camera, who is this person who is explaining to you the numerology, and the person who is teaching you the numerology and the matrix of destiny. So not only education content, but also sharing my experiences and talking about different topics. And if during this video you had some questions for me, please feel free to write. I will be happy to answer. I will be happy to have another facts or FAQs or anything like this. I will be happy to share my knowledge and experiences with you. Or if there is something maybe you are struggling with right now, let me know. And I will record the videos on those topics. And I will record the videos which will, I hope, help you with the problems you're going through. I don't know if you're going through the burnout, if you're feeling lost in life, if you're going through the grief, any of those things, or if you're immigration, or you're feeling lonely, you're not having friends, any of those things. I'm here to support you. I'm here to discuss all of those topics with you and use me as your resource and person to go to. And I feel it as a safe space to share. And thank you everyone for watching. I know that's a different type of video, so I appreciate a lot all your support, all your comments, and for giving your energy, for giving your time and resources to watch all of this. Thank you so much. I appreciate it a lot. And being grateful right now, showing my gratitude to you for all your ongoing support. It means a lot to me. That's what actually pushes me to go and do the things for other people. So thank you so much for watching, and I see you in my next video. Thank you.